In this video, we're just going to take a real quick look at what's included in the BFD3 Mega Metal Pack. So what's included is 8 presets, and these are for Sphere and Oblivion, and some of them actually combine kit pieces from Oblivion and Sphere, and that would be these Obspherevian presets, the Obspherevian XD, XV, and XXL, and this XXL is a huge kit. I mean, it's just crazy, all the pieces I put in this kit. And of course, we have presets just for Oblivion, which is the XF and the XP. Those are the 2 new ones. These other ones here, the X and X2, those are available in a download link for a previous video, so you can always check that out. And of course, there's 3 presets using just the Sphere and BFD3 kit pieces. And those would be the Def Sphere, which is modeled after a really popular drum tone from like the late 90s or early 2000s. We got the Sphere DW, which obviously is using the DW kit pieces from BFD Sphere, and then the Vibe, which is of course the Vibe kit from BFD Sphere. And all of these are set up pretty much the same. Now there's no sound samples in this video. If you want to actually hear the sounds, there's going to be 8 separate videos, one for each preset, and that will also demo the 366 grooves that's also included. So no sounds in here. If you're looking for sounds, check out the link in the description below for a link to each of the videos that actually shows how these kits sound and shows the grooves as well. Now all of these presets are set up pretty much the same. The only thing that differs a little bit would be like the kick. A lot of the presets use 1 kick, and a couple of them might use 2 kicks. In that case, just for like that layered sound. But in that case, you would have those kicks linked. Instead of just having your main kick channel, you'll have a kick aux, just like these snares here. These snares are layered. I have 2 snares, so we get sort of a layered tone. So therefore we have a snare aux, so we can control the sound of the snares with just 1 fader. Everything else is set up pretty much the same, not the same mix-wise or effects-wise, because each of these kit pieces from Sphere and Oblivion sound different. So obviously the EQ, the effects, things have to be a little bit different, but they're all pretty similar in having an EQ, compression, little tiny bit of tape distortion, which I like. And some of the toms, I really, dig out some of that lower mid-range so I can get just more attack and not so boomy. But you can always turn this one off if you like. And of course, if you don't like what I've done to the mix, simply boom, turn off the effects on each of the of your different items. Or of course, you can use the master effects switch right here. Okay, so let's look a little bit more over how these are set up. Now everything is going to run into a drum bus. This is your master for your entire mix. So usually the master would be here, which this is still the master, but the master for all of your kit pieces, absolutely everything, including the ambient mix, all runs into drums. This is your main master, and this will be sent to our parallel compression, which we can see here. It's squashed like crazy with New York comp, which is a great preset for parallel compression. And if we go here to the sends page, you can see that right there. There's the send on our main drum channel, and that goes to a parallel compression. And then you just dial that in as much as you want, or mute it altogether. Now you may say, well, why are you doing parallel compression this way? It's just the way I wanted to do it this time. There's different ways you can do parallel compression. You can go into your sends and just send the items you want to parallel compression. So maybe I just want the kick and the snare, or maybe I want everything, but I want to change the levels that are being sent. You can do that. You can just come to your parallel compression. That's where you're sending it, and then change the level of each item. It'll take you a couple minutes to set it up that way if you prefer, but it's real easy to do if that's the way you prefer to do parallel compression. Just make sure you turn off the send here first, and then assign everything to your parallel compression bus. Okay, one more thing I'll mention for our mixer here is all of the snares have a reverb send on them as well. I really like a real powerful boom, just that thwack with that reverb coming out for quite a long time. That's what I like. That's how I set most of these up. And you can dial in the amount of reverb with your fader here. If you don't want any reverb, you can mute it. And of course, you can come into your effects and change the reverb that's being used and the parameters of that reverb. Okay, so I think that covers everything I wanted to say about the 8 different presets. Again, these are presets for Sphere and Oblivion, and they use kit pieces from Sphere, Oblivion, and BFD3. So if you don't have Sphere or Oblivion, if you happen to load up these presets, then your drums are going to be missing. You can of course use these presets, you'll just have to replace all the drums that you don't have. And then you'd have your mixer channel preset, set up just like this as well. You just have to change out the drums manually. So now let's move on to the 366 grooves that are included. So I'll come over here to the grooves tab. I'll come down here to my user library. And here are the groove palettes that are included. We have the Depth Sphere. Well, let me actually explain the naming. The naming is usually based off the kit I use to make the groove palette with, but these grooves can be used, on absolutely any preset, any kit. So they are not specific to Sphere or Oblivion. If you just have BFD3, you can use these groove palettes, no problem. Use them with any kit, any preset. And let me explain the naming convention. So of course we have the name of the palette, then we have a number after that, and that is the beats per minute, the BPM. Yeah, I know we don't have to do that anymore since they're listed over here, but I still like to do that. And then we'll have another number followed by a G, and that's how many grooves are contained within that palette. So 41G means 41 grooves. So we look down here, these are all the grooves that are included in this groove palette. And then we have the Oblivion Xf, that's 114 beats per minute, 35 grooves. Oblivion XP, 153 BPM, 37 grooves. The Obsferian, 74 BPM, 40 grooves, and so on and so forth. Like this one is 301 BPM for like raging death metal, just like crazy extreme metal, 22 grooves there. Then the Sphere X, 137, 75 grooves. Sphere X, 160 BPM, 65 grooves in that palette. And the Sphere X, 87.5 BPM, 51 grooves in that palette. Okay, I think that's pretty much everything we need to cover within BFD3 here. Now, there'll be a download link that contains all of the presets and all of the grooves in one download link. So you're not having to, download multiple things. Who wants to do that? Nobody's got time. So what you'll download is this file here, the BFD3 Mega Metal Pack, Sphere, Oblivion, 8 presets, 366 grooves. So download that, unzip it, and also there's actually a video that shows how to import user presets and user grooves real easily into BFD3. So if you don't know how to do that, be sure to watch that video that will explain that. So let's pop into the folder here so you can see what you get. There'll be 2 different folders, one for all of the presets. Again, you can simply just grab all of them and boom, drop them right into your folder. Also a README with a little bit of information. And then we have a folder for all of the grooves. And the grooves are provided in palette form, which, that's all these here, 8 different palettes. And they're also provided in single groove form. So that's 366 grooves. You do not need to use the single grooves if you're going to import your palettes, okay? Because then you're just going to double up. You can import both if you wish, but you don't have to. Single grooves are just included, just to make it easier for people who prefer single grooves over palettes. But my suggestion would be just grab the palettes, drop them right into your folder, and of course, rescan your content paths, which is something, if you have BFD3, you should know how to do this. Set up content locations, and then come down here and rescan all paths. Do that after you either import or just drop the files right into your folder. Just rescan all content paths and everything should show up just fine. So again, that's 8 different presets for Oblivion and Sphere and 366 grooves. And the grooves can be used with absolutely any kit, any preset. Okay, so that's all I've got here. If you want to hear these grooves, hear the presets, be sure to check out the 8 separate videos that will be linked below. Also linked below in the description will be the download link for all of the presets and all of the grooves. And that's going to be the same link in each of the 8 videos, okay? So you do not need to download the content that's going to be linked in each of the 8 videos, 9 videos, including this one. You only need to download it once. The reason the download link is included in each video is, again, just for a convenience factor. You may not choose to download from watching this video because, let's be honest, this is kind of boring to hear me just talk about nothing. And you may want to listen to a few of the kits and presets, and then it just makes it easier for you to download when you want to, when you're ready. Okay, so only download that link once. You don't need it multiple times, unless you just like having tons of the same file all across your computer, which I wouldn't suggest. These groups cover a large variety of metal, from your standard metal to sort of a new metal sound to alternative metal, all the way through just raging extreme death metal. So pretty much every sort of style has been covered, at least a little bit, including even like some tribal sort of sounds and things like that. And if you want to learn more about BFD3, you can always go to fxpansion.com. If you want to check out the Sphere library, I actually have a review video of the Sphere library where you can hear every single drum hit in isolation, as well as a video of the Oblivion library where you can hear every single hit in isolation. And you can also go to the fxpansion.com website and hear different samples of Sphere and Oblivion, as well as BFD3. So be sure to go to fxpansion.com to learn more about all of these products. Be sure to check out the 8 following videos to hear samples of these presets for BFD Sphere and BFD Oblivion, and check out the 366 grooves that are included in this download.